They say evil can take any form, a whisper in the dark, a shadow in your room, or worse, a doll smiling innocently from the corner of your bed. Tonight, I'll tell you the true story of Annabelle, the doll that has terrified the world for decades. A story so chilling, even Hollywood's wildest horror movies pale compared to the real events. This isn't fiction. This isn't Hollywood. This is the true nightmare of Annabelle. It all began in 1970. Two young nursing students, Donna and Angie, shared a modest apartment in Hartford, Connecticut. Donna was the proud owner of a gift she had received from her mother, a cheerful, oversized Raggedy Ann doll with its bright red yarn hair, button eyes, and stitched smile. At first glance, it looked harmless, just another doll sitting quietly on a bed. But this doll would soon prove to be anything but ordinary. At first, the changes were subtle. Donna would make her bed in the morning, leaving Annabelle neatly propped against the pillow. But when she returned home from classes, the doll's arms would be folded or its legs would be crossed. Sometimes it sat in a completely different position. Donna dismissed it as her imagination. Dolls fall over. Things shift. No reason to panic. But then Annabelle began moving rooms. Donna would leave her on the couch and find her back in the bedroom. Angie swore she hadn't touched it. They laughed nervously, but deep down, both girls felt a strange unease. Days later, they began finding scraps of paper scattered around the apartment. Notes written in a childlike scrawl, messages like, "Help us" and "Help me." The writing was crude, as if done by a small child. But here's the problem. The paper used for these notes wasn't even in their apartment. Neither girl owned that kind of parchment. So where did it come from? Who or what was writing those messages? The fear escalated. One night, Donna returned home to find Annabelle had moved again. Only this time there was something different. The doll sat slumped in a chair, arms at its sides, staring blankly at her. At its chest were tiny red stains. The girls swore it looked like blood. It was then that they knew this wasn't a prank. Something unnatural was at work. Terrified, Donna and Angie sought help from a psychic medium. The medium claimed to make contact with the spirit behind the doll. According to her, the spirit belonged to a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins. She had once lived on the property where the apartment building stood and had died tragically young. The spirit, the medium said, only wanted love and comfort. She wanted to stay with Donna and Angie. The girls, moved by pity, agreed. They gave the doll permission to remain in their home. That was their fatal mistake. What seemed like compassion was actually an invitation. In the world of the paranormal, giving a spirit permission opens the door wider than ever before. And with that invitation, something dark began to feed. Soon the doll's behavior grew violent. One friend, Lou, had never trusted the doll. He warned Donna and Angie constantly that something about Annabelle was evil. One night, Lou awoke from a terrifying dream. In it, he felt paralyzed, unable to move, as the doll climbed onto his chest, wrapped its soft hands around his throat, and began strangling him. He woke gasping, but the sensation of choking remained, as if invisible hands still gripped his neck. Another night, Lou heard strange noises coming from Donna's room. He entered only to find no one there, except Annabelle. He moved closer and suddenly felt searing pain in his chest. Looking down, he saw deep, claw-like scratches tearing across his skin. 3 marks, then 4, then 7. By the next day, they had mysteriously healed without a trace. The girls realized this was no child spirit. No little girl would leave bloody claw marks. No child would terrorize them in their sleep. The so-called Annabelle Higgins was just a mask, an act used to gain their trust. What they were dealing with was something darker, something inhuman. Desperate, Donna and Angie turned to the Catholic Church. Their priest reached out to renowned paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who arrived to examine the case. The Warrens were seasoned experts. They had investigated countless hauntings, possessions, and encounters with the demonic. The moment they saw Annabelle, they knew this was not a case of an innocent spirit. Lorraine Warren, a gifted clairvoyant, sensed a dark presence radiating from the doll. The entity, she explained, was not a child's ghost at all. It was a demon, and it had never possessed the doll. Instead, it manipulated the doll like a puppet, moving it, writing through it, using it as a vessel to terrify and weaken the girls. The goal of the demon was clear. It wanted to possess a human soul. By pretending to be a helpless child, it had tricked Donna and Angie into allowing it to stay. Every time they showed sympathy, every time they engaged with it, they were unknowingly giving it more power. Ed Warren insisted the doll needed to be removed immediately. A priest performed an exorcism of the apartment, blessing every room. Then the Warrens took Annabelle with them, carefully placing it in the back seat of their car. But even the trip home was filled with danger. As they drove, Ed and Lorraine experienced violent swerves of the steering wheel. The brakes would fail suddenly, sending them careening toward oncoming traffic. The engine cut out more than once. The doll seemed to radiate hatred. Fearing a crash, Ed doused it with holy water and made the sign of the cross over it. Only then did the disturbances stop long enough for them to reach home. Once at the Warren residence, the paranormal activity didn't end. The doll would levitate. It would appear in different rooms of the house. Priests who came to bless the doll were often targeted afterward. One priest, after dismissing Annabelle as nonsense, was involved in a near-fatal car accident just hours later. The Warrens realized they couldn't simply keep the doll out in the open. It had to be contained. They commissioned a special glass and wood case lined with holy prayers and locked Annabelle inside. A warning was inscribed on the glass. Positively, do not open. From that day forward, the doll remained imprisoned in the Warren Occult Museum, never to be touched again. Yet even from inside its case, Annabelle continued her reign of terror. Visitors to the museum have reported strange feelings when standing near the doll, sudden waves of dread, shortness of breath, or overwhelming fear. Some claimed they saw her head shift or her yarn hair move slightly, as if she were alive. One story has become infamous. A young man once visited the museum with his girlfriend. Laughing, he mocked Annabelle, banging on the glass and daring her to do something. Ed Warren immediately ordered the man to stop, warning him of the danger. But the man sneered and ignored the warning. On their way home, he lost control of his motorcycle and crashed into a tree. He died instantly. His girlfriend survived, but she swore they had been laughing about the doll seconds before the crash. Coincidence? Or Annabelle's vengeance? To this day, Annabelle remains locked away. Paranormal experts believe the demon is still attached, waiting, watching. The case is never to be opened because doing so could unleash whatever darkness lurks inside. And yet, skeptics remain. Many dismiss Annabelle as a clever hoax, a story spun by the Warrens to scare and entertain. But those who have felt the doll's presence, who have witnessed the scratches, the accidents, the sheer malice it radiates, they believe. The movies may exaggerate, but the truth is already terrifying enough. Not a porcelain doll with a cracked smile, but a soft, harmless-looking Raggedy Ann locked in glass because the evil it carries is anything but harmless. Annabelle sits there now, silent, waiting. Maybe she's just a doll, or maybe she's the most dangerous object in the world. The next time you see a doll staring at you with painted eyes and stitched smile, ask yourself this: what if it's not just a doll? What if, like Annabelle, something else is looking back at you?